It's past time to expose the Democrats and Republicans for usurping liberty and freedom. What you are about to hear is the amalgam of passion and truth. This is the Southern Liberty Radio Show. Welcome, Liberty Defenders of the World, to this fine episode of Southern Liberty. I am your host, Mr. Roderick Threets, and it's been a minute. I think we got internet issues fixed, which I am glad and grateful for. Those of you that's been hanging on in between time and in the meantime, thank you for that. I appreciate it a lot. It's been a lot. It's been a lot to go through. But I think we've arrived. Amongst other things, we have arrived. So I thank y'all for your vigilance and phone calls and text messages, checking on me and checking on things and all that good stuff. Thank you. It's good to be back. For the moment, we got a lot of smack to talk. But not only that, right? We got to get down to some real life shit. And I got a couple things to talk about. We'll talk about the No Kings protests down in Tampa. We're gonna talk about this government shutdown a little bit. I had a monologue set up and all that for each of these, but I'm going off the cuff off my head because I think that's when I do best instead of trying to structure it. The only thing I'll present to you in a kind of fashionable format is, for example, the White House renovations that everybody's so mad about. Everybody's mad about these White House renovations and not worried about the government being closed. Everybody's mad about some approval, right? Or what have you. Oh, Congress has to approve it. They have to approve the money, but this is private money that was given to do this. So there's that part. But anyway, there's a lot to talk about. I want to talk about that sad case of that girl up in Cleveland, Ohio, about a month ago. A 5-year-old girl. We got a lot to talk about. Satan is out here in these streets, running rampant beyond all conceivable belief. He's running rampant. Before we get started, make sure you guys go ahead and do the like and the subscribe and all that. I got to make sure this is out on all the channels because since we've been away for a little bit, we may have missed a few outlets on this one. So, kind of bear with me as we kind of go through this, get this technological thing. So I can only do this when I'm live. Okay, I see it up on one end. This is very, very good. On Torture Liberty Media Foundation page, so that's good. I don't think it's on my page. If it was before, it will be here in a second. Maybe I should just share it onto my page. What do you think? Maybe I should take the other one. I should go back one, huh? And share that onto my own. So that shows up over there. So people know that we're here for it. We're live at 5 for this radio show broadcast. So we'll do that. So we make sure that's legit. Make sure all that else together. This is good. This is all good in the hood. Thank y'all. Whatever. So we got to get into it. All right. People are again. We're talking about the whole White House renovations, all that good stuff. Those of you that follow me on Facebook, you already know. Um, I've already put it out there, but for the sake of the show, I'm going to put it out there again so everybody knows. So get your pens and papers ready. We're going to go through some historical context on this, right? Now, I remind you, right, the current White House, right, is about 220 years old, right, and there has been changes by every single president, whether it be minuscule or insignificant, or right, flat out huge, massive reconstructions in some part, right? So we'll start after the War of 1812, right? Between 1814 and 1817, James Madison and James Monroe, right? They had to rebuild the White House after the War of 1812, right? Because the British decided to set fire to it. Yay, right? Um, in about 1824 or so, right? I'm gonna show you the photos too as I'm going through it here. Because I'm finding photos in many different places. So I'm gonna throw the photos up here momentarily so you guys can see what I'm showing here. So between let me make this bigger so y'all can probably see it better. There you go. So between the years of 1824 and 1830, this covered the presidents of James Monroe and Andrew Jackson. They completed the south and north portico, which you can see here on the White House. This is the addition. Remember, you take these facades out, and it's just a flat building, right? You gotta remember, after War 1812 was burnt, whole flat is a flat building, four corners. Then they added these porches. That's a fancy name for portico, right? Fancy name for porch. But these were added. It took 6 years to add both of these objects or facades, you want to say, to the White House. Then we had to wait almost 70 years in 1902. Theodore Roosevelt, let me see if I can get the picture to come up here. Perfect. Theodore Roosevelt decided to add in the West Wing. What is now known as the West Wing, right? He's ended up stripping away the Victorian decor that was inside the White House, right? And then obviously the West Wing houses all the president's executive offices, right? OMB, et cetera, et cetera. In 1909, let me see if I can make this one bigger. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Let me make it a little bit smaller. There we go. So in 1909, for you crazy guys out here in 1909, Mr. William Taft decided to expand the West Wing and create the Oval Office. You know, the place where they sit down, at the Resolute desk and they do all the executive orders and memorandums. Yeah, that place was created by Mr. Taft. And then it'll be another 30 years before we get this president called FDR, probably top 5 worst presidents we've ever had. But anyway, FDR, between 1934 and 1942, literally takes apart the West Wing and redoes it, added a second story and moved the Oval Office into the West Wing, and then built the permanent East Wing onto our White House. But everybody's so mad about the renovating of the White House, right? Everybody is hot shit mad. And then 6 years later, we get under Harry Truman what is called the Total Reconstruction Project. Okay? And this, I wonder if I can make this. Yeah, this should be perfect. Harry Truman totally, completely reconstructed the inside. I know that's kind of small. It's behind my head. That's probably the best picture I have that I can find on Wiki anywhere or anywhere else. But he ended up reconstructing the complete inside of the White House. I mean, and to its credit, right? It was falling apart, right? Because it hadn't been kept up with. Because you got to remember, Truman was the first president outside of the Great Depression, right? So they didn't have the money to maintain the White House as it should. So Truman, fun fact, Truman, when he got the money from Congress to basically rebuild inside of the White House, they moved into the Blair House across the street from the White House, and he lived there until his last year of the presidency when this was actually done, and they moved back to the White House. So it's a little fun fact for you when it comes to the White House. But Harry Truman ended up reconstructing the complete inside of of the White House, and then between 61 and 63, y'all know who was president then. Miss Kennedy, Miss Jacqueline Kennedy. Let me see if I can find the photo. There it is. There's the photo. There's a couple of them here, right? Miss Jacqueline Kennedy redid the staterooms, and her favorite blue. She liked blues, so you can tell, right? And this is how the White House got the name, the Blue Room, because of Jacqueline Kennedy. So that's one. It wasn't a major thing, obviously, right? But she left her mark. She left she left a mark on the Blue Room there. Now, 1970, 1970, Mr. Nixon converted the inner swimming pool, the indoor swimming pool. Let me see if I can get it here on the screen. There we go. The indoor swimming pool. You probably recognize this if you recognize the old pictures. The swimming pool became what is now the press briefing room, where you see Caroline Levitt. All of this, right? Those doors in the back that you see are the doors. They're just redone, but those are the doors they actually use to come into the press briefing room. They didn't get rid of the doors. They just filled in the pool, put the chairs in there. And if you ever watch the briefing, you know you see the vision for yourself what this is. That's why it is so narrow in that briefing room, right? You come in from the back up to the front, and up here in the front end where the picture's cut off is where the podium is, right? Just right on the north end of the pool, not on top of the pool, because the people actually sit basically on top of the filled in pool. And then the where Caroline Levitt stands is on the outside of the pool area, just to give you a little bit of a visual on that. And then now we talk about Donald Trump and his and basically demolishing the East Wing for the most part. Not completely demolishing it, but what he wants to do is build a larger ballroom to cater to guests, right, et cetera, right? Um, Obviously, right, state dinners, whatever. Those of you that have been in the White House, the one place that would be a ballroom maybe holds 200 people. And then you have other little mini rooms on the East Wing that almost interconnect, right? So those of you that have actually been in the room, or if you've seen pictures, actually, I wonder if I could bring my old pictures up when I was there a few times. I don't think I can. It'll take me too much time, but I'll probably post on my Patreon or something, right? But there's the one room where the president does all the gatherings. If he's make an announcement like for Black History Month, something like that, you have this one room where the presidents do all that stuff in, right? And then next, adjacent to that room, is three little rooms. You come out of the one room, and there's three adjacent rooms that are almost like I would say mini dining halls, right? Where they'll serve different. Like one room will be like the dessert room, one will be the hot food room, and the other one will be whatever, right? That's attached to that, right? So that only holds so many people. And then, as Rihanna said, a state down there holds 140. They can pack it at 200 if they move the chairs around, if you know what I mean. So you need a bigger room to host these people, right? You need a bigger room. So This is what's happening, and people are mad that Trump is. See, all in all, people are mad that Donald Trump is leaving his mark on the White House. He already did it in 2017, right? He made some renovations at the White Hall in the White House in 2017. No one said a word. But now that he's tearing it down. He's got to get this approval and this, that, and the third. And I'm gonna tell you straight up, and I posted it already, right? The chairman of the Capitol thingy, right, said that they only need approval for vertical construction. Like if he was gonna go up a second story on top of the East Wing, right? That's it. Or third story. I'm sorry. That's it. But everybody's mad at Trump's gonna leave his mark. I'm not gonna hold on to it too long because it ain't about nothing. But I want to kind of go through that little bit of brief history. Those of you that didn't know, now you know. You can go back and rewind it, come back later. This, that, and the third. It's out there. There's no excuse for people not to know this now, right? When they're arguing this, right? But they're using this to deflect from to deflect from the fact that the government's been shut down 25 days now, 24, 25, one of those, 25 days. Pick a day, don't matter. Still closed, still shut down, right? And now people are mad about them SNAP benefits, right? They're worried now. People worried about SNAP benefits. I look, you get people running around here on the social media talking about, if I don't get my benefits, we just running up in the stores. Y'all gonna do what? Y'all gonna run up in other people's shit because why? What gives you the right to run up in somebody else's shit and take their shit? Hmm? I want these people to really understand. You might be hungry right now, and you might want to run up in someone else's shit. But remember, these grocery stores, 2 to 3% profit margin. 2 to 3%, if that 3% is good for a grocery store, right? You go in there and steal their shit. All you're going to do is jack the prices up. You're going to jack the prices up for this grocery store because they got to recover, right? Whatever, right? And guess what? Your SNAP benefits don't go as far, right? Because the store done jacked up the price on the goods. Your SNAP benefits go nowhere, right? And exactly to your point, Miss Rihanna. Exactly to your point, right? You shouldn't be dependent on the government. Hmm? You shouldn't be dependent on the government to give you some sort of assistance long term in that manner. Right? Look, I said it before, and I said it before earlier today, and I'll say it here again. Right? And those of you, again, if it don't, if it don't apply, let it fly. These large cities have made lazy Americans. And let y'all let that sink in. These cities have created lazy Americans. These same people in these cities got mad. These are the same people, remember, that are up in arms about Medicaid being cut. Hmm? These same people, ain't them? I know y'all see them out here on your Facebooks and your TikToks and your X's, huh? And your blue skies. I knew you see them. They're the main suspects complaining. Oh, the Republicans and Trump cut Medicaid. Oh, they're not gonna get my SNAP. Hmm? Y'all know who I'm talking about. I know exactly who I'm talking about. Hmm. Why y'all got to live off the government for? Why people like me gotta gotta you know pay your SNAP benefits? Hmm? Why my fellow tax-paying friends need to pay for your SNAP and your Medicaids? I swear, these politicians are the biggest poverty pimps in the world. Y'all hear what I'm telling you, right? Y'all hear exactly what I'm telling you, right? Hmm? They will pimp out poverty for votes. And this is where the Democrats are. They're going to tell you the Republicans, right? They're going to tell you the Republicans are out here in these streets, right? They're going to tell you these Republicans out in these streets, meaning you all kinds of harm in the world, right? And and again, y'all know, I ain't picking teams. Y'all know I don't do that. I call a spade, right? But I need y'all to understand. I need y'all to understand, right? I want to put this in perspective, right? Put it on. If y'all not following me on the Facebook, y'all need to go follow me on the Facebook. I wrote it here. I'm just going to repeat what I put out there, right? Right. Remember, right? The Democrats, right, enacted those ACA subsidies that they're talking about, right, during COVID, right? But yet they're going to tell you that the big beautiful bill did all these things too that didn't even touch it, right? All right. ACA, right? The recipients of ACA, right, pay on average $74 a month for health insurance. Okay, and if the enhanced subsidies expire, they'll pay an average of $159 a month, right? The the average Obamacare premium of $159 will still be less than standard monthly premium for Medicare Part B, which is $185 a month. Okay. The enhanced subsidies are currently doling out about $15,000 a year in welfare to 60-year-old couples with incomes of $125,000. All right. Well, actually, I should just show you I'm gonna just show you. It's easier to show you than to. I'll make it bigger. All right. Again, I said Democrats aren't trying to lower costs, but transfer them to taxpayers who already pay $2.6 trillion a year for government health care and healthcare programs, an average of about $19,000 per household amongst the nation of people. And you see what I said? I find it ironic that the same Democrats that voted to stop the ACA subsidies on November 1st, 2025, now are using poor people as a cudgel. I said what I said and I said what I meant. Because that's what they're doing. All in the name of we're fighting for uh the lower on the totem pole. We're fighting for illegals. Because I want people to understand how this really ties into the illegals. Okay, though illegals cannot get on Medicaid in this manner, though you do have illegals on Medicaid in nursing homes, right? But what the Democrats are talking about are just the illegals that just come across the border, right? We gotta fund the subsidies, help fund that, right? This is what they're saying. And so many, I mean, if you read between the lines, that's what they're saying, right? But let's remember, any hospital that receives Medicaid funding must treat anybody that walks into their ER. You can look this up. It's in law. It's called EMTALA, EMTALA. Y'all have heard me talk about it before. If Miss Christie is listening, she could tell you about EMTALA. She's a medical coder. She can explain that to you. But any hospital that receives funds from Medicaid, right, has to treat anybody that comes to the ER under EMTALA. EMTALA, I'm sorry, not N, but EMTALA. They need more money to subsidize those hospitals that the illegals be going into if they get hurt. That's the Democrats' play. Because you got to find somehow how to get these people health care, right? I find it quite ironic. I really do. Let's shift gears a little bit. So we gotta bring darkness to life. If you darkness to light, make sure you like and subscribe to all of this. I appreciate it. Again, we're back in the building as always. We're trying to do the things. Notice no drops yet. I think we good. I think we got it fixed. But anyway, that's besides the point. That's besides the point. I'm gonna play a video. And this video is not for the weak of heart. If you got children, it's gonna make you really, really, really fucking mad. It's gonna make you really mad. But we got to talk about this. We can't just let this slide. Let the media and the courts and the justice system throw this under the radar, so nobody sees it. They did for a while, but we're gonna bring it to light. So hold your potato chips.
I literally saw the worst thing ever.
And Tavia Kennebrew, a mother, heartbroken and pleading for justice. Police say her 5-year-old daughter was beaten, scalped, and sexually assaulted. The people that did it, they believe, are a 9-year-old boy and a 10-year-old girl.
I saw my daughter unrecognizable.
Kennebrew says she dropped her daughter off with a family member on September 13th. Somehow, the 5-year-old got outside. The next thing the mother knows, her little girl is being treated by paramedics. Police say the brutal attack happened in a field near East 148th Street and St. Clair Avenue.
Her hair was scalped from her head. She had bruises and blood all over her body. Her eyes was filled with blood. Her lips and mouth was filled with blood. Her nails had dirt, debris of dirt stuck in it.
19 News spoke to Kennebrew last week. Nearly a month after the attack, she's still wondering how and why this could have happened. The Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office charging the children with some adult-like crimes: attempted murder, rape, kidnapping, and strangulation. Kennebrew telling us her daughter is left emotionally and physically hurt.
I want her to just to be somewhat of a normal 5-year-old again.
The prosecutor's office says they are still going through evidence and getting new information. Our team reached out to Kenny Brew's lawyer for comment on these charges, but have not heard back.
For some of us, that's tough to watch. A 9 and 10-year-old. 9 and 10-year-old did this. I talked about this last night with a friend and a couple associates. One of the folks said that when the poor girl came to in the hospital, she was still screaming and hollering because apparently she went into a coma as she was traumatized. The girl woke up in the hospital hollering and screaming because she thought she was still under attack. I'm not a speculator, but I gotta call it a spade for what it is. Those children knew her. Those children knew that little girl. Because what they did to her was personal. That was personal. You don't randomly do something like that just out of GP. That was personal. Those kids had to be a family member. I can fill in the holes in the story. That 5-year-old girl just did not walk out of the door by herself. She was with her 9 and 10-year-old cousins that did this to her. That's the part they're leaving out. Let's keep that all the way real. Those 19-year-old kids went out to play, brought their 5-year-old cousin with them, and thought it would be fun to terrorize this little girl. Because a 5-year-old is just not going to wander out in the middle of the day. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No random 9-year-old boy and 10-year-old girl, right, are going to randomly come down the street and overpower a 5-year-old they don't know. Let's keep it real. We're all that age once. These were family members that did this. And for the aunt not to know where these kids are and what was happening is just as fucking egregious. Again, I'm just plugging the holes in the story because the story ain't lining up from what they're telling you. You've seen from the video. The story's not lining up on what they're telling us and what the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Office is telling us either. The story's not lining up. Let's call that spade for what it is. But it begs the question, as I see Miss Rihanna say in the chat, how deplorable conditions are these kids living in mentally or physically that they would even conceive something like this? And again, right, I talked about it, one thing I brought up last night was culture, right? I mean, we don't have, I mean, keep in mind, we don't have an American culture, right? But you go to another nation like Jamaica, Montserrat, right? Caribbean nations, they have their own culture within their nations. They have a culture. And for scalping to be comfortable had to have been learned through some type of cultural aspect. I would think first and foremost, I want to give that grace, or or the parents are just that vile and taught this to them, or they witnessed it. Yeah, the children are charged. I think and here's something I'm gonna go off on left field on, and I'll tell you why. I think the parents should be charged as well. Hmm? Why aren't we charging the parents? I want people to think about that a second. Why are we not having the parents locked up right now? If they're not, and if they're locked up, they're not telling us. But the parents should be locked up too. Because remember, right, that fateful day in Brooklyn, Michigan, right? That fateful day in Brooklyn, Michigan, where that kid walked in that school with that gun, and the parents end up getting charged with criminal negligence because the child had the gun. Let's apply the same smoke, please. Let's apply the same smoke, please. I mean, they open it up. I would never in a million years. Y'all know me. Y'all been around me a long. Y'all listened to me for a long time. I would never put it on the parents to be charged. Right? If the child did it, they do the crime, they do the time. Right? But the court system said otherwise, didn't they? The court system said in Brooklyn, Michigan, that kid that went and shot up that school, the parents could be charged too. So guess what? Guess what you've done? You've changed my mind about this. Because I mean, let's keep it real, right? A parent can be charged for a child's offenses up until they're 21, right? You're not a legal adult until 21, right? Mm-hmm. If it's heinous enough, they can charge it. Hmm? So Carmelo Anthony, your your parents should be charged also some sort of way because they allowed you to leave that house with that knife. Hmm? I don't care how you got it. You killed that Austin Metcalf kid. You should be catching charges too because your child decided that someone else's life was not valid and he stabbed him. So let's apply the principle equally. Hmm? Am I lying? Let me know in the comments. Am I crazy? Because I want to equally apply the principle? Am I crazy? But I'm going to get down to a more sinister thing. And it's not even sinister for me. This is common sense. All these people coming into this country illegally, all these people coming into this country not assimilating. Hmm? Maybe you shouldn't be here. Because if you don't want to espouse the values of us United Statians, if you don't want to espouse or assimilate into our values, maybe you shouldn't be here. Excuse me. Maybe you just shouldn't be here. And y'all know I've never been like this. But I'm look. I've been through some things last week or so. It's really changed my mind on a whole lot of shit. Hmm? If you cannot assimilate to our American values, shouldn't be here. If you're going to play prayer horns and disturb other Americans because you think your religion is superior, maybe you shouldn't be here. Maybe you should take your ass back the way you came from. And this is not anti Islamophobic, none of that shit. If you cannot assimilate to our American values, you should not be here. Because I'm tired of these people coming across this border, not assimilating, right, and transforming America into something I am not recognizing. This was my home before it was your home. And you need to respect coming into my house. Because if you don't, we will teach you one way or another. A lot of us have been quiet for a long time on this. But I'm going to speak a second. I'm going there a second. Because it's going to segue into something else I'm going to talk about. People that look like me laid the groundwork for all of you un-American assholes to come into this country. The founding fathers may have wrote the Constitution. They might have did all that. But I think, especially when you listen to this, and everybody that's listening will completely agree with me. People that look like me laid the groundwork for you assholes to come into this country. And to disrespect it the way you are, disrespect the African descendants of slavery that are in this country right now, and by bloodline, by disrespecting them the way you do, the way you step over them, is bullshit. I will also say, for my lightly melanated Americans, aka white Americans, that have been here from the founding, that has always done the right thing and upheld American values, you're spitting on them too. How dare you come into my country and think you're just gonna do what the fuck you think you gonna do? But y'all need to remember, if you don't assimilate, you get nothing. I'm at that point, people. I am at that point. No, I'm not turning into a hater. I'm not turning into any kind of phobe or any of that. I'm just calling out the truth for what it is. If you can't respect another American space and you a guest here, maybe we should pack your bags and toss you out the front door. Because why y'all come here and eat up resources from people that really need the resources, right? You got politicians advocating for y'all assholes. The politicians ain't advocating for the American people. They're advocating for your assholes. And you ungrateful son of a bitches don't want to uphold American values. Y'all some ungrateful sons of bitches. Straight up ungrateful. Which segues me into the last thing I'm going to talk about. The No Kings rally in Tampa, Florida last weekend. I don't care what a motherfucker says at this point. I have never seen the most anti-Semitic, racist shit in one spot in my damn life. It was the most disgusting display of white supremacy that I've ever seen in my life. And I don't give a fuck Who says, oh no, you can't judge all white people this way? No, bullshit. You all get the broad brush. I said what the fuck I said. Who are you to tell me I can't see and disseminate what I see for what it is? Hmm. That protest last weekend in Tampa had me so mad. So mad. I really wanted to walk through somebody, literally physically walk through them. But let me go back to the beginning. Let me just throw some descriptors out there for you. It was me. Y'all wouldn't know these people by name. Yeah, one of them you would. It was me, a Sicilian man, an Italian man, a Hispanic man, and a Jewish woman, which in this chat goes by Tristish Bish. We were all down there. We're all down there. Went down and say, hey, no, let's go see what's good. We all did our thing and, whatever. We assembled like the Avengers. We was going to try to see what was going down. What's going on out here? I started filming on TikTok Live. Nowhere to lie. One of the first signs I saw within 10 minutes, no cap, was fuck America, fuck Trump, fuck Israel, fuck Jews. Was the first sign I saw. That was the first sign I saw. What? I thought y'all about tolerance and unity, huh? Y'all had no kings, no King Trump, right? I saw that sign more than once, written in different ways throughout this crowd. Do y'all remember? Actually, I should bring it up on the screen. Watch this. I'm going to show you something. See if I could get the picture on the screen so you know. All right. No, I don't want to do that. Hold on. I want to show you guys something. And y'all have probably seen this before. But I must bring it. Can I put it on this one? Yeah. I don't want that one. Let me try different ones. I don't want a video. I don't want any of that shit. Here we go. Here we go. I'm going to show you a picture real quick, guys. So, those of y'all that don't know, or those of you that do know, the Pepe de Frog, right, is a quote unquote symbol for anti-Semitism and racism, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all seen this frog before, right? And they try to blame it on the alt right and all that stuff, right? Let me tell you something. There were multiple Pepe the Frog suits. Y'all remember how Antifa was wearing the blow up animals and the unicorns and stuff? Well, I'm telling you right now, when I got verification from 4 of the people that seen it like I did, Pepe the Frogs, at least 10 of them running around this protest. At least 10, straight up, no lie, no cap. Oh, Miss Marlene, the meaning is what the left has placed on the frog because of 4chan, right? And they took a joke and they ran with it as a hate symbol. This is what the left, the people at the No Kings protest, the left, right, has called, oh, that's a symbol of anti Semitism. But there were, there's more than 10. I'm leaving at 10, at least 10 that were in that crowd. Fucking disgusting. Oh, it gets even better. It gets even worse. So I'm standing out there and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. I was like, this is a rally of white supremacy, right? This is a rally to uphold whiteness. I sure did. This is a rally to uphold whiteness. And then the next statement, watch this. After I said that, I was like, ain't a single nigga in this crowd. I damn sure did. Proof in the chat. Ain't a single nigga in this crowd. You know what this white dude walks up into me and says? There's a few over there. Excuse me? What did you just say? What? I knew where I was at that point. I knew right where the fuck I was at. Instead of saying, oh, there's 3 black people over there. No. He didn't correct me. He just politely pointed right over there like it was just normal. I'm over here like, what? Again, I knew where I was at. I knew exactly where I was at. Yeah. Then we move locations, right? We follow the crowd. They go 3 blocks by 2 blocks, right? So those of you that are familiar with Tampa, Florida, we started on Florida Avenue and Kennedy Avenue. Okay. We moved west to Zach and Ashley, which is by the, if you're familiar with Tampa, it's by a Tampa fountain. Okay. There's an island in the middle, splitting the street. So the 5 of us was on this island. And I'll still shout at her, shouting the same thing, whatever, right? This one little old white girl, y'all know the story of Emmett Till, right? You know, the kid that was beaten, right? Because he so-called whistled at a white girl. Mm-hmm. Or George Stinney, you know, the 13-year-old kid that got electrocuted in South Carolina for associating with a white girl that he thought he murdered and find out later he didn't murder her. Right. This white girl, out of all of us, the darker skinned people, me and my friend Angel, the Hispanic guy, right? This girl was jumping in our face trying to incite violence from us. Now, those of us know that's a forever racist trope. Instead of talking, you're screaming in our face to invoke a reaction so you can call the police and say the brown man hit you and get me put under the jail. No, I ain't stupid. I don't think she realized how racist that was to even try that. And not only she didn't try it to the perceived white lady in the group. She didn't try it with the 2 Italian dudes. She tried it with the brown people. She knew exactly what she was doing. She knew exactly what she was doing. You know what's more sickening than that? Yeah, the chick with the black. Yeah, you see. Yeah, you probably no. The chick with the black shirt, that was different. Let me tell you how that one went down. Because those of y'all on my Facebook, You seen that one. That's a different situation. I'll get to that one. So I'm still out here shouting, this is nothing but white supremacy. Ain't no niggas in the crowd, right? Right? Chat be my witness. I know Trish is in here. Chat be my witness. Hmm? When I said that, she said, well, there's a bunch of black Trump supporters over there. What? Did you just say, basically, in essence, in so many words, Negro know your place? Is that what you just did? They over again? Is this what we're dealing with today? Again? Not even an hour apart. Again? Then she proceeds to say, you can hear in the video on my Facebook, right? She says, well, you're complaining about what's going on out here. Go over. No. I said, I'm complaining about the whiteness out here. And that lady turned around and walked right off as soon as I said that. I knew where I was at. She knew where she was at. She knew exactly where she was at. Or she would have defended, no, they're not like that. No, she hopped up and walked off. Oh, there's another. I have it. I think Angel has it. My friend Angel has it, right? So there's this white progressive. Oh, this is even crazier. There's this white progressive guy, right? He tried to say, "Oh, what are you not black? What are you, Dominican?" Shut the fuck up. But he sat right there and told me, "I'm a traitor to my own kind. You should go over there with them." What? That was the dude I was about to walk through. I don't care. I care, right? Because again, right, I'm not going to play the appeal to emotion bit here. But 90% of the shit that was said to me, 90% of the shit that was said to me at that rally in Tampa, Florida, on that Saturday, reminded me of my fucking childhood. I'm talking 80s. I had, as a young kid, a couple people know this story, and I'm just going to put it out here on Front Street. A couple people knows this story. I was chased by the Klan as a kid, 9 years old. And I heard every fucking thing under the fucking sun. Here in North Florida, boys came down out of Georgia. And when I tell you, I was standing in the middle of a white supremacist rally in Tampa, Florida last Saturday. I'm telling you, that's what the fuck it was. I don't give a fuck who says you can't blanket. Oh, no, sorry. No, absolutely not. No, you're not. You're not entitled to tell me that I can't do that, because I damn sure can. And in the moment, I may have said some things publicly, right? I won't repeat them here to get this channel taken down. But the same exact incident happened to Andre Williams in Detroit. But not only they went all the way in calling him a Nazi and all that stuff, they called him a house nigga. Y'all seen that video on my Facebook? And I'm like, there's no way anybody can tell me these are isolated incidents. If this happened in Tampa, Florida, and that happened in Detroit, I can almost guarantee at least another 50% of those rallies were the exact same attitude. You can't tell me that it's not. You can't tell me these are just two isolated incidents. Bullshit. I said it on Facebook, I'll say it on TikTok, and I'll say it here on this show. These No Kings protests are literally overt white supremacist rallies under the guise of getting to a man that ain't done nothing to them. I'm sorry. Y'all painted this for what it was. And how dare you tell me I don't understand white supremacy when you created it and used it to create oppression. But see, here's the funny thing, right? What these stupid white supremacists won't tell you, right? These white supremacists not only hate Jews or brown people, they also hate poor people. Listen at what I'm telling you. They hate poor people too. Case in point, literally the Sunday after, last Sunday, Sunday past, I was on TikTok. And this white dude was talking to one of my friends, dark dude. He's a little bit lighter than me, right? Sat there and told him that I employ people like, he said he's rich and he's white. I employ poor people like you because you don't know how to do anything. The fuck are you saying? Like literally, these No Kings protests literally allows these people to be openly anti-Semitic and racist and ethnophobic and xenophobic at the same time, and no one checks them. But you let a motherfucker walk down the street with a swastika and he's everything but a son of God. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't agree with walk around with swastikas and all that kind of stuff, but I'm sorry. If you have the wherewithal to call out the covert white supremacy in these neo-Nazis, then you have the ability to take the same criticism when someone tells you that you're acting exactly that way openly. And if you don't, you're a piece of shit with them. Lord, if I'm lying, I'm flying. But this is what these people represent. So when you see these people, no kings, and no, just automatic attributed to white supremacy. Now, with that being said, there's some people may have been there on the principal purpose. Don't get me wrong, right? Right, and again, this goes back to Trump's statement that that the media misconstrued. Right, there's good people on both sides. Maybe there were, you know what I mean? Maybe there are good people in that crowd, right? But at the same time, you got to have the ability to call it out for what it is. Call it out when you see it for what it is. Don't say, "Oh, well, maybe that's not it." No, 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 no. I told you what it was. You have you have an opportunity to be like, okay, that's not cool. Maybe I need to speak up and say something about these type of people in these protests that I'm going to, because I am a good person. And what they're doing is not about what we're talking about. Right? But also keep in mind, people, right? These people at these protests were boomers. Think about that a second. So, yes, the racism, the white supremacy is going to be rampant because these people grew up in a time that white supremacy ruled everything, right? Let's call it a spade, right? Y'all seen all these No Kings protests and the photos from this protest? We seen it down in Tampa. Wasn't no young people, the few young people out there called themselves trying to engage the five of us, right? But the rest of them were old enough to be to be my parents' age, right? And this is where this comes from. And then they pass it down to their kids. And I mean, look, there was 5, 6-year-old kids out there holding a pike with Trump's head with a swastika on his forehead in this protest. Hmm. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The media has the audacity to say that there are 7 million people. Because 7 million people showed up no Kings. That was 7 million white supremacists that showed up and showed their ass on Saturday. That's what the fuck they are. Until you can prove me different, that is what they are. And I'm sorry. And I gotta say this out loud. Those of you that are part of that whole thing, I want you to please do understand, right? With all due respect, 7 million of you are dangerous to people that look like me, a little bit darker, and poor people. You are dangerous. So don't think for a minute that people are going to trust you automatically when they see you after what they saw on Saturday in multiple places. Don't think they're going to trust you automatically. Please do understand, these people are the people are not going to trust y'all. There's 7 million of you out here, quote unquote. Because y'all literally sat there and protest protecting whiteness and the elitism of it. You're protecting, right? We know how this goes down historically, people, don't we? Don't we, y'all? The elite create the white supremacy and they got all the followers, right? To play into it, right? So they're protecting the whiteness, right? Y'all know just as well as I do. That's what they're doing. That's how they're acting. That's why they look down on people like us taking race out of it. I mean, we're all poor people for the most part, right? Most of us one check away from, living on Skid Row. We the poor people. They hate us. We know what it looks like in every single form for what it is, huh? I've never been to something so disgusting in my life. Yeah, I've been in some shit. I've seen some shit. Not like this. Not like this. I'm glad I got the experience. In closing, I'm glad I got the experience that I did because it confirmed my hunches. Right? When you got a group of people protesting against the king, right? That treat people that look like me like pets. We can't get IDs. We're too dumb to get IDs. We're too dumb to get IDs so we can drive and go to work and pay for our houses or apartments or studios, right? When you have these type of people protesting, you know what it is. I know what it is. Y'all know what it is. There was even a guy, check this out, Democrat socialist, said we needed to eat the billionaires, right? I'm going to end with this story right here. He hands me the paper. We got to start. Mind you, I'm in the group of 5, 2 Italians, Hispanic guy, black guy, and a perceived white girl, right? We mobbing deep. The guy walks around them and walks over to me and hands me a paper. We got to stop the billionaires. Y'all already know. Y'all in your head right now, you're saying, yep, they talked to the wrong Negro on this one. I looked at him. I said, "What you mean?" I said, "How many black billionaires are there in the United States?" I took it right to race. On purpose because honestly, it's the truth. How many black millionaires are there? They're not many. There's 11. Oprah being one of them. Mr. Johnson, the guy that used to own BET's another. Right? I said, you do understand that you guys claim that there's this wealth gap in America, right? And people of darker skin are afflicted more by the wealth gap, right? But yet you want to take out millionaires and tax them and tax the millionaires, which most of your, most, your professional athletes, NBA, NFL are black or melanated, right? They're millionaires over. You want to hit them and knock them down too, right? So what you're actually advocating for is a system, again, that promotes whiteness and keeps the money within the elite, because ain't no black elites, ain't no Hispanic elites, ain't no Jewish elites, right? You want to keep the money, you fighting to keep the money up there with them and dispersion. No, absolutely not. I will never advocate for something like that, especially with y'all say the wealth gap exists. And there's 5 times more quote unquote white billionaires than black billionaires. And there's like one Carlos Slim, right? Carlos Slim in Mexico, right? He's a billionaire. That's one of the only few Hispanic billionaires there is, right? In the world. But you want me to advocate for taking down the billionaires when there's a wealth gap. You out your cotton picking mind. You out your cotton picking mind. Because like I told him, I said, any of my peoples or anybody that I know happens to come up across something and make some bread, I want them to keep all that bread. All of it. Keep it. All of it. You earned it. Not to say, oh, do this and we're going to take. No. These people hate money. They hate people with money. And these are, again, right, these are now poor people advocating for a handout. Roll us back to the beginning of the show, right? Government shutdown, SNAP, poor people with the handout, right? With that being said, though, I got to roll out like an Autobot, like always. I appreciate y'all out here with me doing the things. I love y'all. I'm glad y'all hung in there. We didn't go down. We're good. I think we're good. So remember, check the Patreon. If you haven't been on there, new series for Sunday. I got written out. We're going to talk about it. More Menarchy. If you're not subscribed to it, make sure it's going to be on this channel on Sundays, Chasing Life, Liberty, and Menarchy. We're going to talk about minimizing the government and how to minimize it to its supposed core functions. Because that's the only way we're going to restore liberty. With that being said, I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Have the best weekend that you can. All right. It's getting cooler in some parts of the country. So enjoy that too, because we need it. And those of us in Florida, Hurricane Melissa, I got my ears peeled. And my eyes listening. Y'all saw what I did there, right? But anyway, stay tuned. Watch Melissa, guys. Your folks in Florida, watch Melissa. See what kind of turn she's going to do. You know me, I'm already getting ready. I got the guys on deck with the heavy equipment. They said they're going to be ready to go at any moment's notice. So we're going to be ready. Hopefully my Floridians will be ready. And with that being said, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Until next time, y'all. Peace and love.